Yeah, we don't need to do
that. Pass. I am working from home tomorrow, but...
Okay. I think we're live right now. So
we're live.
I think we're live. It says we're live. I don't
All
see
right.
it on YouTube yet, but it says we're live. So I'm going to say we're live. Anyway, hey everybody. It's the Cardboard Jungle. I'm Anthony Ricano.
I'm Paul Leoncavallo.
that. And Matthew Suarez.
All right, and normally you'd only hear us, you don't get to see us, but we wanted to do our GenCon preview. So what we decided to do is rather than try to record it and then rush to edit and get it out before GenCon, we would just do it live. So that's why you get to see our beautiful smiling faces.
Oh, indeed.
So what's going on, guys?
Getting ready to go to GenCon.
Yeah, we kind of figured that part, but what else is going on?
Oh, not much. Just stuff.
Stuff?
Yep. Just stuff. Still lots of baseball getting played here, lots of running in the ridiculous heat. I don't know why I do it, but I do.
Yeah, nobody knows why you do it.
Because you're a masochist.
Maybe.
All right, so we are heading for GenCon. A week from today, we will actually be in Indianapolis already. So before we get into like the games and stuff that we're looking forward to, let's just talk a little bit about preparation stuff. We have been going back and forth with how we're organizing everything, which has been pretty weird because it started out, it was me and Paul going. Then our friend Ben was coming and rooming with us, and then all of a sudden Matt was coming, and now our buddy Rhino is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So we went from Paul and I, nice roomy, cozy room, to being on top of each other. So
go where you will with that.
Fine, I'm not going then. Screw you guys.
That's okay. I already got your money.
Nice.
So yeah, we're heading out from my house Tuesday morning early. So we'll be there Tuesday evening. We'll probably be around, but after all that time in the car, we may not be the most...
we may need to spend a little time apart at that point.
Yeah. Okay,
I'd say give it a couple of days. Then we'll need some time apart.
That's a good start there. But yeah, so then Wednesday we'll be around. We'll actually be in the dealer hall if you are a publisher who's going to be there at a booth. We'll be walking around. So say hello. And then Thursday morning, we are going to be there with the masses. Going into the dealer hall, Paul gets to experience the rush for the first time. Matt got to walk through the crowd last year.
Yeah, that was fun. That was so not fun. No, I mean it was great.
Yeah. So if you are going and this is your first time coming, you've seen video of it probably.
Yeah.
The morning, Thursday morning, it is a sea of people. There's no other way to say it. It is a massive sea of people. We had to walk through it to get to the AG booth last year with stuff, and literally, we probably could have just lifted Matt on top of the crowd and have them surf him to the front. But yeah, we had to get through, and it was ridiculous. But if you have to have something on Thursday morning, I suggest getting there early. You'll still be in the crowd. You'll still be waiting around in that big mass of people, but at least you'll get in and hopefully get it what it is you want. If there's something you want, but you're not dying to have it, please stay in bed.
Perfect.
What's funny is the doors open at 10 o'clock, and there's a good 20,000 people at least in the hallway at that time, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
The doors open at 10. If you get there at 10:15, you can walk right in. There's nobody out there. So if you don't want to have to battle the crowd, but you still want to go in early and you don't worry about rushing and all that. I mean, a lot of the times, remember, it's still that many people and they're all going different directions, so not everyone's going to the same place. But there are companies that have very limited quantities of certain games. Some they're going to limit each day, so if you don't get it on Thursday, you'll have to get in line early on Friday. But if it's nothing you need to direly have, then, like I said, stay in bed. Go have breakfast. Get over there at 10:15, 10:30, and you can walk right in. I mean, it's granted, inside the hall, there's still going to be a ton of people, but you won't have to worry about, getting crushed to death. But I will have to say that despite that number of people trying to get through those doors at the same time, I don't think there's ever been an incident of someone actually getting trampled. So it's organized chaos.
Says you.
I'm just looking forward to seeing the spectacle. So should be interesting.
And you'll enjoy the sights, but not so much the smells.
Well, that kind of is a given. When you have 60,000 people mulling around the same area for a few days, yeah. So I'm making sure, if I pack nothing else, I'm making sure I bring my my hand sanitizer.
Yes, and I will be fist bumping, not handshaking. I caught the the con crud last year, and it took me a few weeks to shake it off. So, to all you filthy bastards, you get a fist bump from me.
That's fantastic. Matt's a jaded GenCon veteran now.
All right. Unlike my cohorts here, I will give hugs, high fives, fist bumps. I'll give a headbutt to someone if
All right. Well, you do that.
All right, so why don't we start talking about some of the stuff we're looking forward to? The GenCon list, preview list, gets put out every year from Eric Martin. Thank you, Eric, for all the work you do on this list and for the Essen list that you do every year. It's a lot of work. I mean, he gets people to, a lot of the publishers come to him because he puts out the call saying the list is coming out. Some of them to send them the stuff before he even puts the call out. But he compiles it all in this geek list on Board Game Geek with as much information as he can get from them. They may send him information, he'll go back and ask some more questions. So as much info as he can get, he provides it. Now, granted, there's a lot of information there. So going through it, and stuff keeps getting added and updated. I mean, we've gotten updates up until today. And we're a week out on stuff. Some stuff that people weren't sure if they'd have it there in time, that they've confirmed they have it. Some things just about the numbers they're going to have of copies available. Even things like just the MSRP price that wasn't there previously is on there now. So, Eric, thank you very much for all the work you do on it. So it makes it a lot easier for us. But I will have to say that every year there's always stuff that's not on that list that shows up at GenCon. So we're just going to go through some of the things on that list that interest us. The list itself this year is a little light as far as new things that are going to be available to purchase. This has been the bone of contention with a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff being previewed for either an Essen release or for something that's coming later on Kickstarter, or not even coming out until 2016. So it's kind of weird because GenCon has always been the place where all the new stuff is coming out, and it doesn't seem to be that it's that important. Now, we had the big dock strike in California that screwed everyone's schedules up as far as getting things in, but I don't know how much of that is that, or how much of the fact that Essen has now taken over as the place where everybody goes to release stuff. So before we go into individual items, what's your overall view of the list this year, guys?
You want to go first, Paul, or me?
Yeah, I'll agree that it's light. Like, I don't think there's any one particular title where I'm like, ooh, I really want to see what that's all about. And for the most part, I mean, obviously I've never been to GenCon. I'm talking about going for the first time. But generally, I'm able to wait when for a title to come out in mass release. I don't have to be one of the first ones to have it. Although there's always seems to be one or two titles where I'm like, ooh, you know what? I think I would pay a little extra to have it now. And I don't know that there's one that's like that this year. There's an expansion that I want immediately, but that's not, it's an already established game. But for anything brand new, there's nothing where I would be banging. There's nothing where I would be part of that crowd banging down the door to be first in line for. So there's some interesting stuff. Definitely some stuff I think will be pretty good. But there's nothing that I'm going crazy about right now.
Yeah, on my end, I sort of have to say I feel the same. There is some stuff I'm interested in. Nothing really screams out at me to say I must have this. Whereas like last year, I believe it was like 5 games. I think there was 5 games that I was trying to absolutely snag while I was there. This year, there's interesting stuff, but I feel like I can wait for one of those times when I'm just in that buying mood and make those purchases later on down the road. But who knows, too? I mean, sometimes you might see a game in action, and it may very well entice you to buy something. But the list of interest has been okay. I feel like last year there was maybe a dozen to 15 games that I was really interested in, and this year it just seems like a handful. So again, it's I don't know what it might be. Maybe it's just a lot of it has to do with stuff that's like pre-existing in the sense that they were picked up because they were pre-ESN releases that are now available, or things that are kickstarted that if you back, you know you're getting, so it's okay if you don't really see it or not because you know you're going to get it. Maybe that's what it is for me, at least on my end. But yeah, the interest level has just sort of been moderate for me. So, or yeah, I'll go with that.
All right. So with that being said, let's start talking about some of the stuff we are interested in checking out. Paul, your first Gen Con, you get to go first.
Well, I think it goes without saying, and I'm sure this goes for all 3 of us, and I'll just throw the expansion that I want to see right away is for Imperial Settlers, Atlanteans. That's probably my most anticipated, and it's not even a standalone game. It's an add-on to an existing, but that is probably what I'm most looking forward to.
Did I tell you that the Cardboard Jungle is sponsored by Portal Games? Makers of it?
No, you didn't actually. and actually, come to think of it, you didn't ask how the hell I was doing or what I've been up to.
I asked you both. I asked you both.
And I went on at length about how not much.
And then you didn't say anything. Which I took to mean nothing was going on with you either.
All right, I'll let it go.
You see this, folks? This is the crap I have to put up with.
This is the behind the scenes you don't get to see.
You don't get to hear this. Matt is very fragile emotionally. Matt, are you okay?
I am excited to see the Atlanteans expansion because I want to see what this new resource that's getting added to the game is going to do and what kind of havoc they're going to wreak in terms of, because it's already well known that at the end of the game, like Atlantis, all of their buildings sink. So you're not going to get any points for any of the buildings that are on the board at the end of the game for the Atlanteans. So they need to score all their points in-game. So I imagine the individual engines that you can build during the game are pretty insane. And I wouldn't be surprised if at least at first some people think it might be a little OP, only because they're not thinking in terms of not getting any points at the end of the game, so they have to make them all up front. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see how that interacts.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it plays actually backwards. That's the general feeling of playing Atlanteans is you play the game backwards. Is you're getting a lot of points in the beginning, and the points are waning as the game goes on, like the amount of points you get, which is kind of odd. So you're not going to have as many cards in the beginning, and I think it's only the Atlanteans buildings that sink. The common ones they build, I think, still count. I think.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely one I'm interested in. Not only just to see what their play style, but also I always love variability. So it's always great to see them to see something new introduced into this. Granted, I haven't gotten a lot of plays with Imperial Settlers in general, but I always love just seeing just how different factions work, or just trying to get to learn them, and the new elements that they bring. So much like you, Paul, this is definitely one that was on my list as well for interest.
Yep. And speaking of Imperial Settlers, I can't remember the schedule now, Anthony. Is it Friday that I'm going to be demoing it? I think.
They asking me right this minute. Yeah, I think it's Friday. Friday at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when, but at some point on Friday I'll be demoing it for a couple of hours, so I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, so if you're signed up for the last Imperial Settlers event on the portal schedule, I don't know if you're doing Imperial Settlers on Friday or so. One night you're doing Nurishima, and the other night you're doing Settlers. So
yeah,
and Matt will be there at the same time, and I'll probably be there at the same time too. So you can come and check us out there.
Yes. And I believe I'll be running events for Nurishima Hex.
Yes, correct. You are correct, sir.
Yes.
All right, Matt. Matt, throw something out that you're looking forward to.
Okay. One of the games I'm looking forward to seeing is actually a game that was kickstarted and I backed. And the game is Mare Nostrum Empires. And this was published by Academy Games. And it did exceptionally well on Kickstarter. It's Mare Nostrum. It's basically an area control, area influence game. However, there's other elements that goes along with it. You're essentially empire building and trying to take control of various areas, and there's expansion involved through trading, and there are wonders that you can create, and you're also trying to focus on the cultures and sort of building these glories. There are different, I guess you would call them factions or different types of empires, and there's different types of leaders and stuff that you'll be working with that focus with trade and cultural leadership and military leadership. This was something that initially I wasn't going to back because it required a minimum of 3 players. And anyone who has been a long-time listener knows that that's sort of a make it or break it deal for me on games, because I just don't often run into situations where I have 3 players. Granted, I do have game days with gaming groups and stuff, but even still, it just doesn't often fit the bill, so to speak. However, one of the Kickstarter stretch goals was to apply 2-player rules. So that interested me enough to want to back this. I don't know if those, if that's going to be a Kickstarter exclusive or if that will be included in the game. But one of the things I'm also looking forward to is there are different types of, I guess, components, we will say. And again, I would have to check this. I don't know if they're going to be Kickstarter exclusive, but the components of the ships and the units and things like that just look fantastic. I love the artwork of the board. And this is basically a reintroduction of Mare Nostrum, which came out back in 2003. So it will have updated rules, counters, and things like that. So it's always nice to see a revised version of something. And like I said, you'll be choosing an empire. There will be provinces for you to control, and you can lead the different empires. And to give you an example, you could be Caesar of Rome, or you could be King Hammurabi, Queen Cleopatra of Egypt, things like that. So it's one to definitely look for if you're into games that involve area control, area influence. But like I said, it is also, in a sense, empire building, because you are trying to build your empire. Check it out. Like I said, great components, great artwork. And again, this is Mare Nostrum Empires from Academy Games.
Yeah, it'll only be there for demo games. There's no actual retail sales of this game. It's not made yet.
Exactly. Yeah, I probably should have put that out there.
Now that I was all excited to go try it out.
But you can go try it out.
Yeah, you just can't buy it.
You just can't buy it.
Buy it. Excuse me. Buy it. Yeah, I actually am not familiar with that one. So that one's news to me.
Paul. Okay, all right. I want to talk about a game that is actually this is expansion / standalone that's coming out. The original game came out last year at GenCon, and Matt and I actually got to hang out with the designer because he was actually demoing his own game for AEG last year, and this is the expansion for Valley of the Kings. Valley of the Kings, if you've not played it, fantastic little deck building game. It's in their small box series of games, and it has this cool mechanic of you're taking and drafting cards and building cards using a pyramid system. So you always know what cards are coming, and they just have to move down in the pyramid. It was a big surprise hit for a lot of people because everyone's like, oh, it's another small box game, you know, Love Letter and all the other boxes that came in. But this is one of the ones that most people really, really enjoy. So the fact that they took that small game, that small box, and did such a great job with making a really fun deck building game out of it, for Tom Cleaver, the designer, to come back and basically come back with a whole other set. So you don't have to own the original Valley of the Kings. If you just go and get this one, it's Valley of the Kings Afterlife is the new one, and you can play it solo also, which is actually pretty cool. But you know, it has the card drafting, deck building thing, and they hit your hand management. But the fact that they've come out with another one that's totally standalone, so you can get this one, or you can mix the two together and create an even better experience, where you know there's new cards and there's new combinations of things happening. Definitely one to go check out. It's only like $20, and like I said, it's a small box. If you have any of the other games like Sail to India or My Star or Cheating Mages, that's in that same size box, but it's a fantastic 45-minute or so deck building game. So that's Valley of the Kings Afterlife from AEG.
Yeah, this was one that actually, I have to say, surprised me. When I originally tried Valley of the Kings last year, it was actually your sons, Anthony, that introduced this to me, and I sort of was like, okay, it's a small game deck builder. I was like, there can't be that much to this. And I think we ended up playing it like 2 or 3 times because it was just that enjoyable. You don't be fooled by the fact that it's, like I said, a small game. It does play quick, and it is in a sense light. But there's a lot of interesting elements into how you play and have that selection of cards, and also knowing what you want to do with your turn, so that it can also kind of sort of screw the other player so that they can't acquire something that you know they may want to acquire. Very interesting game, and this is definitely something I would check out. But also, the expansion is also one that for me fell into the I can wait a little later, but it is definitely a good game, and I do recommend it. If anyone who hasn't checked it out, definitely check out Valley of the Kings. It's a fun little game.
Well, I will have to be put on the list of the folks who should check it out because I don't know that one either. But I will talk about another deck builder that I'm excited about that's coming out, and it's a bit more expensive. But I should say I have guarded optimism with it, and that is the next installment in the Legendary system, the Legendary Encounters. This one being the Predator deck building game. Last year it was from Upper Deck. Last year they put out the Alien deck building game, and I was very excited about that game. And it's not that it's a bad game, but what completely fell flat for me is I did not care for the art style, so it kind of took me right out of the whole theme of it. And I'm a pretty big fan of Alien. So now that, and then when I heard they were putting out the Predator game, I'm like, oh, fantastic. Hopefully I like the art better in this one, because I like the Predator theme even more. And and I'll just get this one. You can mix the games together. I don't know that I would do that. But judging from the one picture that is on Board Game Geek right now, which is the cover of the game, I think it looks really cool. Although I think it's also a similar art style, so I'm curious if it's going to work for me in the Predator world as opposed to the Aliens world. But I guess we'll see. Speaking of it being a bit more expensive, this one runs $50, so it's not a cheap game. But actually, that's $50 on cool stuff. So I'm sure the MSRP is more like $60 or $75. But I'm very much looking forward to that one. I like my deck builders to have a heavy theme in it, even though I say that, and it's kind of hypocritical because I still have all this Dominion around me, which is the most themeless deck builder there is, but I like it. So maybe I shouldn't say that. But yes, Guarded Optimism with the Legendary Encounters Predator deck builder.
Very nice. Yeah, I have to say, I kind of agree with you in terms of the art. I wish the art was a little bit darker for Aliens,
yes,
because I prefer the Aliens world a little bit more than the Predator world. And not to say that I wouldn't pick up Legendary Aliens, but it just I wish the art was a little bit darker, or yeah, I don't know. It seems a little cartoony. I understand that they're going sort of for a comic book feel, but it pops in a sort of lighthearted way, and I just wish I guess it was a little bit darker. But that's neither here nor there. So,
yeah, I can't even. I've said it before as far as the Alien game goes. I can't even really say what it is I would want in the art. I just know that what we got isn't something that I care for all that much, and it's I mean, art's subjective anyway, so people are enjoying it, people are buying it, so it's I'm obviously not the end all be all with that opinion. So, exactly. But I hope it's better in the Predator game.
Yep. All right. So another game of interest of mine is Kraftwagen, and this was published by ADC Blackfire Entertainment. This is a game that falls into that style of manufacturing, economic industry, that sort of thing, and it basically sort of puts players in the, I guess, the time period of when Germany came into its maturity with the development of and manufacturing of cars and transportation, and the development of the automobile. Having enjoyed Kanban, and I'm not saying by any means that these two are alike, because I just don't know. But having enjoyed Kanban and the meatiness of how that played and worked, I'm just really interested in seeing how Kraftwagen will play in terms of comparison, and how it is that the player progresses with their development of I guess the manufacturing of automobiles and things like that. Again, like I said, I don't know too much about it. I know that the game is available for purchase. I don't mean to sound a little crass here, but the art is very plain Jane, if you will. But I'm willing to look past that because I just want to see how the game plays in comparison, and just to see the different elements of how it works. So again, this is Kraftwagen, and hopefully, I would imagine it'll be available for purchase. But I feel like if there was a game that I would try or saw and really enjoy, I feel like it would probably, this is the one that would probably make me want to purchase it if it were available at GenCon. So I would put that one under the category of the likelihood of me buying it upon seeing it. So only time will tell if that will actually happen. But again, the game is called Kraftwagen.
Yeah, Kraftwagen has that same mechanic that Glenmore has, where you're get to move as far ahead as you want on the track to take actions, but everyone behind you can keep taking actions until you've caught up to the person in front of you.
Ah.
So it's interesting. It is not very pretty though.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one yet. I know the guys over at on Heavy Cardboard are pretty excited about this game. So for that reason, I'm interested in it because I feel like it's probably a fairly complex game. And for that reason, I think I could enjoy this one. I would definitely sit down and try it. As far as, yeah, the art style on this one, and I think for me at least, it's like Matt said, it's, you know, this isn't the same game as Kanban, but I think I would prefer Kanban in that I like the fact that that seems like more of a modern manufacturing type game, where this one's obviously set back in the day. I think it's 1888. It says in the description. And as far as that era of automobiles, it's just not one. Not that I'm a big car person to begin with, but that era specifically, I'm not a big fan. So when I see games set during that time, it just doesn't interest me as much. I don't know. It's another thing with theme, but I definitely would sit down and try this one just for what I think is a fairly complex game, which I enjoy that. So sometimes I can look past that just for that experience. So one I would try.
Okay. Another one on my list that I am looking forward to, and I think a lot of people are. This is, I'm going to pronounce it correctly, Mot Tainai, and this is the spiritual successor to Glory to Rome. Glory to Rome was a game that was a lot of people were big fans of. The original one, the artwork they had questions about. They did this huge, glorious black box edition, which people backed, and that was it. They made the black box just for the backers, and I don't think they made any of them to actually sell anywhere after that. So this has been a game that people, a grail game for a lot of people. People who play it absolutely, for the most part, love it and think it's like the most fantastic thing. So Carl Chuddick at Asmati Games just had kickstarted this not that long ago. So the basic premise of the game is that you have cards in the game that you can use for multiple things in the game. So a card can be used for to perform an action, or you can play it into your tableau. I never played Glory to Rome, so I don't know exactly how it is, but this is something I definitely want to go check out. And unlike Glory to Rome Black Box Edition, which runs $150 to get a copy of, this will be available for, it's $15 for what they call the mini deck, which is one deck of cards, and the deluxe is $25 for two decks. Definitely want to check it. Carl Chuddick designed some really cool games. Not always the prettiest games, but most people would say that he is a genius when it comes to designing things. So definitely one I want to go and get my hands on to try out. That's Mottainai from Asmati Games. It's Mottainai if you want to know.
Yeah, I actually got to try that one not too long ago. Rhino did a print and play of it, and we actually got to play. Although I was taught it extremely late during tabletop day. I don't think we started that until midnight, maybe 1 o'clock. So I definitely didn't get the full experience, as I was pretty dragging at that point. But it was pretty cool because with every card you can do, I believe it's 4 different things, and of course every decision rips you in 4 different directions because you can, I can do this, but I can do this, but I can only choose to do one of them. So it is pretty cool in that respect. But probably this next game actually is probably one where I would consider trying to get myself in line to be able to bring this one home, because I think I'm most excited about my kids to try this one, and that is Flick 'em Up from Pretzel Games, which is the Western-themed dexterity game, where it's the showdown in the in the middle of the street, and you've got buildings and all other kinds of things. Basically, just picture a Western town, but it's a big dexterity game where you're flicking discs around to accomplish various things. You're trying to knock the hats off the cowboys. It's just really cool. I've seen plenty of reviews for it at this point, and it's people are raving about it up and down. And I think this would be a really cool one to play with the kids because I know that my youngest can play it, and obviously so can the older kids too. So that one looks like a lot of fun, and I think it's a game that if it there's a lot in the box and it's heavy, so it's not going to be a cheap game. But I think if it catches on, this is a game that'll be really fun to expand upon, and make your Western town bigger and bigger and add other things and other obstacles in it. I mean, I feel like the possibilities are endless with what they could add into this as potential things when you're using the flicking mechanic. So Flick 'em Up is one that I will maybe not rush to go find, but it's one that, oh hey, if I have the opportunity, I might just stop and grab it to have that one to bring home.
I actually got to try this a couple weeks ago, and it is a ton of fun. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. It is really pricey though. It's $80. But what's funny is I was somewhere, and Jay Little, the designer of Blood Bowl Team Manager and X-Wing, was there, and we were talking, and so they were setting it up. And he's like, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, that's Flick 'em Up." He's like, "Oh, is that like a deluxe edition?" I'm like, no, that's the regular edition. It comes in a wood box, and it's just it's pretty incredible. It's a ton of fun. You'd probably definitely get your $80 worth out of it, but it is definitely a one of those games where it's an investment. For someone like yourself or me, Paul, with kids of that age, it probably will get played a lot. You just have to run the risk of losing like the little wooden bullets that get shot around. So if you have heating grates, cover them up.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a game where I can see the kids pulling it out on their own and not even having to wait for dad, to play a game with them. That'd just be one that they would play themselves too. So yeah, it looks like a blast.
Very cool. I may have to put that one on the distant future list for Riker.
That list is getting pretty big.
Yeah, exactly. But the next game that I actually had interest in, this one is called Odyssey: Wrath of Poseidon. This one was published, or is going to be published by Ares Games. This one seems like a quick, light game of deduction. It looks like it's going to take about 30 minutes to play. But what intrigued me about this game is one player is basically taking the role of Poseidon, the god of the sea, and the other players are navigators in search of the sacred islands. There are two identical copies of the same game board that are separated by the game box, and this is to prevent visibility. The player who's playing as Poseidon is trying to basically throw the navigators off course, get them lost so that they can't reach the sacred islands by using powerful and deadly storms. And the navigators are basically trying to survive through these storms and basically keep their bearings and try and make it to the sacred island. I like the idea of one versus the group. The game does, I believe it's 2 to 5 players. So, again, I'm not saying this is a game like Fury of Dracula or Spectre Ops, but those are things that come to mind where it's one versus the group, and you have that deduction element. And then the fact that it uses this sort of system of 2 identical boards, and the game box breaks visibility. It's really interesting, and it's using a theme that's in terms of how the gameplay is conducted. It's something that I haven't seen, at least to my knowledge. So it's just great to see the idea of somebody playing as Poseidon, the god of the sea, trying to basically screw up the navigators and get them lost, and the navigators are just trying to work in sort of a partnership to brave the storms and make it through. So this one's definitely one I have interest simply because of its interesting ideas that it's using. And again, this one is called Odyssey: Wrath of Poseidon by Ares Games.
Very cool. Yeah, it looks very interesting. It's definitely one I want to go look at.
I got nothing.
Okay.
I guess you don't care, Paul.
All right. So there's a game that's coming out from a company that normally kickstarts everything. Did not kickstart this, and it will be out at GenCon. And this is a game called The Grizzled. This is being put out here by Cool Mini or Not. It is a cooperative card game that takes place in World War I as you are trying to survive trench warfare. What's interesting about this game is it was originally published in France by a company called Sweet November, and the artwork is done by one of the artists who was actually killed during the what was the name of the in France the satirical newspaper?
Oh yes.
Oh, Charlie Hebdo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Charlie Hebdo. So the artist was actually killed on that day in the shooting, and they just were huge fans of the art. His artwork, so they put it in the game, and Cool Mini saw it, and they wanted to bring it here. So it's only a $20 game. It's just, like I said, a card game. There's not a ton of information out about how the gameplay is, but I actually really like the art in the game, and there are very, very few games about World War I out there. You know, a lot of World War II things available, but this one looks really interesting to me. And it's only $20, so definitely one I'm probably gonna go run and pick up. But you know, it plays 2 to 5. It actually says it's best with 5 players, so the more people you play with, it ramps the difficulty up apparently. But definitely one I want to go and get my hands on. So the Grizzled from Cool Mini or Not looks really, really, really cool.
Yeah, when I saw that Cool Mini was putting that out, it it seemed like an odd title for them because obviously what they're associated with the miniatures. But it seems like they're really starting to branch out now. Because they did Xeno Shift recently, and they got some other stuff in the works that doesn't involve miniatures. So yeah, I saw that one. I saw that one earlier. I thought it looked thought it looked worth checking out as well, especially since it had the World War I theme, which, as Anthony said, doesn't typically get a whole lot of love. So yeah, there'll be one worth checking.
Yeah, this one actually fell under my radar, and now with your mentioning, Anthony, I definitely want to check this one out.
Yeah, and looking at like the pictures they have on BGG, like even the box, it's probably the whole game is probably about the same size as I don't know if you have the new Fantasy Flight version of Hey, That's My Fish.
I do not.
And it's like a 4x4 square box. Probably about the same size as like the Get Bit tin, or if you have the first edition of Luchador, something. That's what it's looking like. The size of the box doesn't look like it's a very big box. Like I said, it's a deck of cards and some counters, but I'm a big fan of the art style. So.
All right. Well, my next one is another expansion that I'm looking forward to, and it was a game that already had complaints of having a lot of AP in it, and I think this may just add some more, but I still think it's a fun and interesting game, and that is the 5 Tribes expansion, the Artisans of Nakala, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is going to add an additional tribe, the 6th tribe, so the game is no longer 5 tribes. And this one you're going to get...
catch.
You like what I did there? You're going to get purple meeples in this one, and you're going to get some new tiles in this as well. And what the main purpose of these guys is they're going to be able to craft various goods and magical items, some of which will be worth victory points in unlocking special powers. But another cool thing that they're adding with this, and I believe we're only getting 1 tile this time like this, but they're adding in a what is it called? A bottomless chasm. Basically, what they're doing is adding a terrain tile to this, which is going to have an effect of how your guys can move around the board, which I think was a really cool idea. So now it's not just straightforward. Okay, I can I can move this guy in any direction I want. What's the best best way for me to go? It's like, oh, wait a minute, this tile's in the way. I can't get through it. It's impassable. And I can see them adding some other things like that, some other features, or maybe even tiles that let you move farther along in the future. Who knows? I just think it's a real interesting twist on what I think is a cool game. I mean, I know the folks that complain about AP with this game because there is every single turn the board is constantly changing. You can't plan ahead, and there's so many different things you can do on your turn that if you're someone who has to make the maximum move, that you could be there for a while. But if you play it fairly laid back, like I tend to do, and the groups we play in tend to do, I think this is a fun game, and I think this expansion is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, this is one that was also on my list, and much like Kraftwagen, I feel like if I see this, I'm probably going to be weak of will and compelled to buy it.
Yeah.
I try to avoid picking expansions when doing my interest, simply because if I did, I'd probably have a list of something like 30, because there's just tons of expansions for games that I already have that I know I enjoy, but this is one that's definitely worth mentioning just because there's a significant addition to Five Tribes, and like you were saying, the chasm is an interesting element, but I also just like the concept of how the new meeple, I guess the purple meeples will play, in how you're able to craft goods and items, and how it can unlock powers, but you also there will be new tiles that will expand the board that adds marketplaces. So anything that can sort of bring about an interesting addition to the game is always something worth checking out, and it's for a pretty good game too. I enjoy playing Five Tribes, and it's definitely great to see to get to be able to see this one at GenCon, which I may be compelled to buy, as previously stated. So, but another one that I had interest in is Ghostbusters from Cryptozoic Entertainment. The reason why I'm interested in this one is because it uses a theme that is fun, but also too it's Ghostbusters. It's a great comic book series, and the movies were great. I know there's a remake coming out. Don't know that they would need one, but one is being made. So, but it's cool to see this come to the tabletop world, because we've seen Ghostbusters even in video gaming as well. So it's really interesting to see this one. It was kickstarted, did really well. And in a nutshell, Ghostbusters is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players rather, and you'll be playing as the sort of signature trademark Ghostbusters of Peter Venkman, Egon, Winston, and Ray. And players will choose a scenario, and they'll basically try and handle and complete the scenario cooperatively. From what it sounds like and the artwork and stuff like that, it almost sort of feels or sounds like it's going to feel like Zombicide. That may put some people off, but I don't see it necessarily as a bad thing. The way I gather is as you're going through the scenario and building experience, you could then level up your Ghostbuster, which then will enable access to more abilities, which essentially will help the group. But it also comes with miniatures, and it's just great to see some of the signature characters like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and stuff like that. So this is one that I guess if I ever was going to buy, it's something I could wait for. But I definitely do want to see it at Gen Con, and hopefully not only just get to see it, but see it in action to just make that comparison to see how it compares to Zombicide, just because it sounds so similar in terms of how it plays. So that's something that I'm hoping is at least playable at Gen Con. Again, the game is Ghostbusters, the board game by Cryptozoic Entertainment.
Yeah, the nostalgia factor in that one alone will make me want to at least take a look at it. I don't know if it'll be one I'll need to own. I don't own Zombicide, so if one of you guys feels the need to own Ghostbusters, that's fine. I'll come and play it.
Yep.
But it's a theme I will definitely want to see just for the nostalgia factor. So definitely one I'm going to check out as well.
Yeah, I had backed it, and then I had to drop my pledge because, well, it's a lot of money. Yeah,
it is.
All right, so I'm going to just throw out a couple of quick expansions that are going to be released at Gen Con that I am looking forward to. As you know, I am a huge fan of Nothing Personal from Steve Avery and Tom Vassell. I did not back the Kickstarter for the expansions, but they are now out, so I will be picking those up. So there's the Nothing Personal expansions that just add, there's new player cards as far as the ones that you're playing in the tree, but there's also some new mechanics into those. I love Mafia games. I love this game. It's not because Tom designed it, because Steve did most of the work.
Bus thrown under.
No, Tom will tell you that himself. But I just absolutely love this game. I love the art style. I'm still not a card, Avery, even though you told me when I play tested for you for the first one that you'd get me in the expansion, but that's all right.
Oh, bitter.
It's okay. I'm all right.
Doesn't sound it.
No, I really am fine. But this will be one of the things that I go and get on day one because I'm a huge fan of the game, and more of good stuff is gooder. Right?
Is more good.
Right.
Is gooderist.
Yes.
So that's definitely one I'm going to go and grab. So see, I'm easy.
All right. Well, I have another title that I actually just became aware of in the last couple of days, and there's still not a lot of information about it, but the publisher is one I've had good luck with in the past. And this one's from Fireside Games. It's a game called The Village Crone. And it's not so much that this seems to be anything groundbreaking. It's just as far as I'm concerned, a kind of a unique theme. And basically, it's a worker placement game with resource management. It's got some spell casting in it. But basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to become the Village Crone, and to do that, you're trying to wreak as much havoc as you can within the village in order to score various victory points. All you can see right now on the page is what the cover art looks like. I think it looks particularly nice. You're doing things like you're casting spells to make villagers fall in love, or turn them into frogs, or teleport them to places they don't want to be, and you use various things to like I said, resource management, so you need the ingredients in order to cast the spells that will achieve these things, and in turn get you the victory points. That just sounds really interesting. I don't know too many games where the whole idea is to go in there and cause trouble. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So like I said, not a ton of info on it, other than the contents of the box and the cover art. So that's pretty much it. So that's just kind of a quick one to hit on that I will be checking the Fireside booth out for. And that's called The Village Crone.
Yeah, that's on my list too, and that is going to be very limited quantities.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be one of those book two on Thursday morning kind of things.
Okay. So maybe I'll be moving faster than I think on Thursday. I don't know.
This one was on the maybe list for me, but if either one of you get it, all the better.
Right. Do the work for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, for me, another game that I'm interested in is Warband Against the Darkness. This is published by Discami, and it's a game for 2 to 5 players, and it's area control, area influence, but there's territory building and fighting, things like that. Each player is basically going to control a warband army of one of the great fantasy races of the 5 realms. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to emerge victorious by having the most prestige and honor. And by way of doing this, players, what they will do is they'll be competing against the other players who will have other races, and they will be trying to do things such as battling against the darkness, advancing soldiers in their war bands, earning gold for the army, the captains, and just defeating enemies. They're just trying to achieve the greatest leadership through glory and becoming the victor, in a sense. What's interesting about it is it seems to have a sort of meshing of Euro style versus Ameri style gameplay. So I'm really interested in seeing how this works. One of the things that I like is the artwork. The artwork definitely has that old flair of the fantasy games of old. So it's interesting in seeing how does the combat and the play against each other work in that Ameri style of gameplay, but the development of your soldiers and earning gold and things like that, if that comes from that sort of Euro style. So I'm really interested in seeing how this plays out, and like I said, I do like the style of the art. Again, it's one of those that just seems interesting on its premise, and would like to look into a little bit further, and hopefully they have something available, at least for a demo, just to see how it works in combination with, like I said, that Ameri style gameplay as well as the Euro style gameplay. Again, this one is called Warband Against the Darkness by Discami Publishing.
Matt, you come up with all these titles. I hadn't looked into it all. What's going on here?
That one's actually on my list too. And this is one of those games where you look at the artwork on it and read what the game's about, and you think it's one kind of game. This game is very Euro-ish.
Mm.
It's not a Ameritrash if you're thinking, warband, fighting, but it's not.
Yeah, I was going to say, I made the assumption that the combat will probably be Ameri style, but I have a feeling, like you said, the Euro-iness comes from how you're trying to expand your warband and developing your soldiers, raising gold, and things like that. So I definitely have a feeling that it's going to be a little bit more Euro-y than most people would expect. So I definitely agree with you in that regard.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of like Eclipse. How Eclipse is more Euro-y than anything else.
Yep.
All right. So one of the things I'm excited about this year is one of my favorite designers is going to be there. Bruno Faiduti is going to be signing his new game at the Passport Game Studios booth. And this game is called Warehouse 51. So Warehouse 51 is an auction set collection game. So basically the premise of the game is it's sometime in the future, it's like 2030 something. So the U.S. has finally gone bankrupt after borrowing money from everybody. So what they have to do is they have to open up Warehouse 51, where they keep all of their most secret treasures and artifacts and relics, and so where they store them. And so the players are these multi-millionaires from around the world that are trying to buy these artifacts. And the thing is, the things you're getting not only have a value, but they also have these paranormal effects which actually can influence the game. And then a lot of them aren't even real; they're fake. So just the whole concept. This sounds like a classic Bruno Faiduti, chaotic, fun game, and it plays quick. It's supposedly like 30 to 45-minute game. I like the idea of the game. I like Bruno's work. The other two designers worked on it with him. I believe are the same gentleman who worked on Sheriff of Nottingham, if I'm not mistaken. So really excited about this game. So if you like this kind of game, again, it's like a $25 price point on this one. Definitely one I'm heading over to check out. So this is Warehouse 51 from Passport Games.
All right. Let's see. Well, actually, I just get done saying that I haven't seen too many games where the whole idea was to go out and wreak havoc, and indeed I found a couple that are coming out of GenCon that I hope to check out. I just mentioned the Village Crone. There's another one coming out from Catalyst Game Labs, and this one is dragon themed, which kind of sucker for anything that says dragon anyway. It's called Wrath of Dragons. And I'm hoping this is a good one because I know it will be a game that I can take home and my son will play it immediately because all I'll have to do is say to him is, PJ, dragons, death and destruction. And he'll be like, sign me up. Basically all it is you're a dragon, and over the course of 6 centuries, 6 rounds of play, your job is to go in and lay waste to the land, to scorch the fields, to steal the livestock, to get gold, and to capture nobles. Apparently they don't want to say you're supposed to kill them, you have to capture them, but we might change the semantics when we play. But there, again, as with the other game, there's not a whole lot of information about it other than that description, but I thought that sounded pretty cool, and the cover art for the game box looks really cool, I think. So that is one I will definitely be checking out with the Catalyst Game Labs when we're out there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I saw that one. That's got a pretty high price point, though, doesn't it?
I didn't see a price point on that one. I don't know if I just missed it or if it wasn't there or not. It could. It's definitely a Euro game. I mean, you think dragons and blow everything up, but it's there's. I'm looking at. They do have a picture of the game board on it. It looks pretty minimal, the components, but there are a bunch of custom bits, so that might be why it's so much. It does look like there are several custom wooden bits, so I'm not sure. So yeah, that'll definitely be a factor. We'll see.
This is another one that kind of flew under the radar that I may have to check out now.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, all you got to do is say dragons and kill stuff, and people are like, what? Okay.
Exactly. My next one is it was originally released in Essen of last year, so I know this one's kind of cheating, but hey, we're finally getting it here, so who cares? This one is La Granja, and La Granja is actually it's published by Stronghold Games, and it's released here via Stronghold Games. I believe, I may be incorrect on this, but I believe it's Spielworks that originally released La Granja. La Granja is a game for 1 to 4 players, and it involves hand management, but it's primarily worker placement, and there's also the involvement of dice rolling. What players are trying to do is they're trying to control and build their farms in the island of Majorca, where they are basically trying to expand their farm by adding fields and extensions and hiring helpers and having market battles and things like that. Players, they'll earn victory points when they deliver goods to the village. However, they need to be concerned with adjusting their strategy based on how how dice and cards are played and things like that. It seems very interesting in terms of that sort of economic building, and although it's not really economic in the sense, it's more farm building. But this is one that I wanted to try. We had an opportunity to try it last year at Lobster Trap, but we just were not able to learn the rules in time to play it, just based on the limitation of time in general that we had at Lobster Trap. but knowing that it's available now via Stronghold Games, this is actually one of the ones that's high on my list. And this is also yet another one that I have a feeling that upon seeing it, I will probably be compelled to buy it. Again, this
You're
one
saying
is
that a
called...
lot.
I've said it like 3 or 4 times looking at my list. Yeah, Kraftwagen and 5 Tribes and La Granja. So we're at 3. We're at 3. So that's not too bad. So
Keep telling yourself that.
yeah, exactly. But again, this one's called La Granja by Stronghold Games.
Yeah, that's one I've been looking forward to for a while too. That one, it's a try before I buy for me, only because if it's a super complex one, I'm trying to kind of tone it down on getting those, because those types of games we always seem to get 2 or 3 copies within the group, and it's only that group that's ever going to play them. So if someone like you say, Matt, are not going to be able to resist grabbing it, then there's no reason for me to have it as well, since it's likely that you and I will play it together when it gets played. So, but I will definitely be taking a look at it.
You don't have to twist my arm on that one.
Back to me.
You awake?
No, I'm here.
Boring you?
No, I was looking at the results from the math trade.
Oh, okay.
While we are working, damn you.
Did you get anything good?
Yeah, I got a couple good things. I'll tell you later.
Interrupt this program for your math trade results.
All right, so the not this past season, I think the one before, Lewis and Clark came out, and there's actually a second Lewis and Clark game from the same designers for this year. This is called Discoveries, and a totally different game, plays totally differently.
Dice game, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Very cool. What's funny is they had a small video online of them showing this game, and the artwork on the box was just like the pencil drawing of it. And I really liked the way it looked, just like that. I was like, oh, I can't just leave it like that. But yeah, very, very interesting thing. A lot of times, they make the dice game of something, and it's just a different version of the same game. But the basic premise is you're playing dice in your action area on the board, and what you're doing is you're performing explorations, and you're trying to do journal entries. You're either playing as Lewis or Clark, or I forgot who the other 2 guys are. It's like Sergeant Ordway and Sergeant Gass, I think they are. But these are different entries that you're making on the thing, just using the dice to take your actions and to do different things with it. So just very interested in the whole idea. The fact that it's by the same designers, the artwork looks really cool. This will be at the Asmodee booth because it's coming out from Ludenot. So definitely one I want to go and check out. And also Cedric, the designer, and Vincent, who is the artist, will both be there also signing copies of it. So definitely want to head over there and meet them. But definitely one I want to go check out. This is Discoveries from Ludenot and Asmodee.
Yeah, that one's on my radar as well. It looks interesting. I like the art style anyway, so it's that alone would draw me to it to see how it plays. I don't have any more real specific titles that I'm looking forward to, but I do have a specific booth I'm looking forward to, and this one may get me in trouble as far as the checkbook is concerned, and that's the Haba booth. I know they have a bunch of stuff listed as that they're going to have with them, but I don't have a lot of Haba games as it is, and having that many in one area is going to be dangerous. My 6-year-old, who will be 7 soon, is really starting to get into games and wants to play all the time, but she can't really quite handle a lot of the stuff that we have. So I've been trying to expand the the kids section in my house, and I know that I'm hoping there's another Rhino Hero seemed to be the big harbor hit of recently, and I'm hoping there's another one like that this year where everyone just kind of raves about it, and I have a feeling there'll be more than one title I pick up from Hava, whether it's new or old, because they seem to have an endless catalog of great stuff. So I am going to make it a point to visit the Hava booth at least once, and I'll probably walk away with some stuff, and then the next day I'll be like, oh, I really should have grabbed that other one too, and I'll go back and grab 3 more, and and so it goes. So the Hava booth for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested in checking out that booth as well, simply because I know I've got a long ways to go in terms of years, but I'm sort of trying to keep in the back burner knowledge of what good kids games there are, and I feel like it's easier to buy them and own them than tell myself I'll get it later and forget about them.
That's exactly why all our collections are ridiculous, because if you don't buy it now, you're going to forget about it. I did the same thing when I used to work at a bookstore. If I don't buy these 17 books now, I'm going to forget about them, and they're all still sitting on my shelf unread. So, yep.
Yeah, no, so that's how I feel. I much like you've said, I know I definitely want to pick up Rhino Hero just because I've heard many great things about it, and I have a few children's games that I know will be great for Riker, like Frog Juice, and there's a couple others that can't come to mind, but I definitely want to check out Hava USA to see what they have there. And something tells me I will probably pick up Rhino Hero as well. So, but
it's too bad they won't have the giant Rhino Hero there. That would be cool. Did you hear about that version?
No, I didn't.
It's over in Japan. They have how they have the giant deluxe version of Takenoko. Well,
yes.
They did it to Rhino Hero so that you can actually make a stack. If you balance it well enough, that goes actually higher than just a couple small children stacked on top of each other. So, but that's only out in Japan right now, so it's not quite accessible.
I guess we'll have to wait for that one.
Yeah.
All right. Oh no, go ahead. You.
No, what I will say about the Hava games, I don't know if it's so much now, but all the Hava games do not constantly get made. So if you see something now, with the exception of Animal Upon Animal and those things, if you see something that it would be cool to play with Riker in 2 or 3 years, you may want to grab it now because it may not be available then.
Gotcha.
You're feeding the beast, Anthony.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I do what I can.
Yeah. All right, so on to the interests of Gen Con. The next one for me is one that may or may not be on both your lists, but it's definitely on mine. And this one is Forbidden Stars by Fantasy Flight Games.
Oh my gosh, does that look awesome?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. It's for 2 to 4 players, and it takes place in the Warhammer 40K world, which is something that I enjoy and enjoy. It's a world I enjoy playing in. And players, they're basically taking command of different factions, and these factions, they're unique armies that have unique playstyles. And the goal of the player is to claim key objectives selected for your faction. And like anything else, as you're trying to vie for those objectives, you could damn well bet that your opponents are going to try and hinder that, as well as trying to complete their own objectives. The minis look pretty damn cool, and like I said, fitting for the Warhammer 40K world. It just makes it that much more sort of enticing in terms of ooh, shiny. So this is definitely one that I would love to see. Something tells me, as last year's indication was, the Fantasy Flight line, I'm sure, will be brutally long, and I am sure that Forbidden Stars will probably end up selling out, so I'm not holding my breath on picking this up. But if I could at least see it in demo form, it'll make me happy because it's just something I definitely want to see. I know that it's a good game simply because a lot of fellow reviewers and podcasters talk about it on Twitter all the time, and they talk about how great it is. I know some might say length might be a little bit of an issue, but for the most part, it's been generally positive reviews and comments about the game. So if I can at least visually see it in action, I'll be content with that. Again, this one's Forbidden Stars by Fantasy Flight Games.
Yeah, that's one I'm really looking forward to. It's not one I'm going to be compelled to buy at Gen Con, even if I find it available, just because it's out now, and I know you can get it at at normal retailers.
Yeah.
So it's not one that I'm going to rush there. And again, it's another one where I want to play it. I want to play it many times, but I don't know. I don't know if I need to own it because it's another one we probably only need one copy in the group, even though it's a game that's cool enough where you may just have that need to own it, even if you never end up playing your own copy. So I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So one that I'm actually really interested in is a party game, of all things.
Really?
Yes. And it is not your typical party game. This is Codenames from Czech Games Editions. So this is designed by Vlada Shavatel. So you know it's going to be a little bit different. The game is actually sort of like the old TV show Password. There is a grid of cards with words on them, and you play as teams based on how many people are playing. And what you do is there's cards that are assigned to your team, but only one person on your team knows which cards are assigned to you. And they have to get you to guess which those are. And how they're going to do it is going to give you a one-word clue, and then they can give you a number. So that basically means they're giving you a clue and telling you how many of the cards on the table of yours they're trying to get you to guess. And what you have to do is try to guess which one of the cards that's your code words. Now, both teams are doing this simultaneously. There's also one of the cards that's an assassin. If you happen to pick the assassin, you lose, and you're done. So each team is giving clues, and you get to hear the clues the other team is giving to try to deduce what it is, which words are yours. So you could have several words out there that all relate to food, and you could say food for. So even if there's 5 cards out there, you're like, okay, well, there's 5 cards out there that could relate to food. 4 of them are ours. So your odds are, more in your favor for guessing it. It just sounds like a really cool concept. I've heard lots of great things to people who've gotten to try it. So definitely one I want to get my hands on. Luckily, Czech Games is sharing a booth with Portal, so I don't have to worry about running online to get there in the morning to pick it up, because I'll just yell across the booth, "Hey, Vlada, can I have one?"
Hey, buddy.
But yeah, definitely one. I think this one's going to sell out fairly quickly. It's getting a lot of good buzz. So it's Codenames from Czech Games Editions.
Yeah, well, especially if you like Vlada's sense of humor, because his rule books are always fun to read too with his other titles. So that alone make it interesting. Well, like I said, there wasn't any other specific titles for me. I mentioned I want to see the Haba booth. One of the booth.
Wait, Paul.
Yes.
What were you for the Haba booth?
Okay.
That you need to go and get a copy of.
Just go and get it.
Oh, actually, it's there for preview. So, well, you can go look at it.
Okay, what is it?
It's Pharaoh's Gulo Gulo.
I think. Maybe I don't know if I've heard of it or not.
All right, so Gulo Gulo came out a while ago, and it's been out of print, and it's like one of those games that everyone just wants to get. But they're coming out with a Egyptian-themed version of it. So Gulo Gulo is one of those games that you play with kids, and kids are actually better at it than adults.
I have heard of this. Okay,
there's a bowl that has marbles in it and a stick that's in the bowl that the marbles basically hold in place, and they're different sizes. And when you're doing is you have to pull them out. If you knock the stick out of the bowl, you lose. So kids have the advantage of the fact that their hands are smaller to get in the bowl, but the This version looks actually pretty cool with the Egyptian theme. But go ahead.
Yeah,
you were
no.
saying.
I have heard of that. That does sound that sounds something like they would get a kick out of here. But another booth that I'm definitely going to check out, and I don't know that they necessarily are going to have anything new, although I haven't really looked into it. But booth I want to check out for sure is Japanime Games booth. As some of you probably remember me talking on past episodes, I have spent a lot of money on Crossmaster Arena, and Japanime tends to have items that are only available at conventions. I guess I wouldn't call them exclusive items, but they're just harder to get because you either have to go online and compete in their online tournaments and win this stuff, or you have to go to a convention where they have a booth. And in like Crossmaster Arena, there are, I can't remember if they're called familiars or not. But basically, it's a token set where, they basically are familiars that can be summoned onto the battlefield, but they don't have a figure for them. They're just a little token. Now, they do have resin figures for these guys, but again, you have to win them online when you participate in tournaments, or they do sell them at conventions. They tend to be wildly expensive. So I don't know if that's going to make me pull the trigger or not, although, if it's the end of the con and I still have a little bit of money left in my budget, I may just splurge on some of these. I know they're also going to have the full 3D resin board there as well, which is beautiful but ridiculous. I think it's like $400 for it. So I will not be coming home with that, but I'm really going to want to, but I just no.
Who are you BSing? You know you're going to buy some of that crap.
Yeah, right. considering what I've dropped money on the last 6 months, yeah, I know it's putting me out of the ordinary. But no, I'm excited to see some of the exclusive stuff because I'm hoping they have the resin terrain as well. That I didn't back the Kickstarter for Crossmaster back when they had it a couple of years ago, and that was really the only way you could have got the resin terrain or the resin token sets. So I'm hoping they have some of that stuff at GenCon so that I can pick up some of it. I don't think I'm going to be able to grab everything just because it'll just be way too much money, but to be able to add a little more to the game would be cool because it's a game that my son and I enjoy, and it kind of gives, it's a smaller package because you don't have to set up a giant terrain board. It really is very Heroescape-like in how the different character powers interact as far as synergies goes and things like that in the army building. So it's pretty cool. It's got a smaller footprint and it's current because they're continuing to release more stuff. So I'd definitely be checking out their booth as well over at Japanime Games.
Very cool. I've seen it last year, and they had the bigger models, the more, I guess, full-size models, and the game looks cool, and you always gush over it, and I always try to tell myself to stay the hell away from this, because I know I'm going to end up spending hundreds of dollars if I get hooked into it or sucked into it. So it's nothing against Japanime Games. I just try to steer clear so that my wallet can thank me later. So.
Yeah, no, you don't need another minis game. We both have plenty.
Exactly.
So let me build up the Crossmaster. We'll have a Crossmaster day, and it'll get your fill.
There you go. Alrighty, for the next one for me for GenCon interests, this is actually currently active on Kickstarter. Something tells me that this will not be available in time. They'll likely just have maybe some sort of display for it, and the game I'm talking about is New Bedford. New Bedford is being published by Greater Than Games from the Dice Hate Me branch of Greater Than Games. And New Bedford, it's a worker placement game for 2 to 4 players, and it takes place in the city of New Bedford, right here in Massachusetts. And it's sort of an exhibition of the growth of New Bedford as it relates to whaling and the growth of just that community. What players will be doing over a series of 12 rounds is they'll be taking turns placing workers one at a time, to either to the town board or the whaling board, and these actions will be to either take goods, whether it's food or resources, but also some of these actions will be to sell goods or to construct buildings, to dock your ships, or to actually launch your ships so that you can go whaling. Whaling, when you go whaling, it's for the collection of the whale fat to use as a resource for the development of the colony, but also too, much like in the actual real world, the whales sort of become scarce in time. So you have that sort of struggle of the development of the colony, but also too, the longer you stay out and the further you travel, the better you seek your chances of getting more valuable whales, such as like the sperm whale. But also too, if you wait too long, you might run into the issues of encountering an empty sea just because the whales have become scarce. So it's a very interesting theme and take with regard to the worker placement and the display and sort of the history of a particular town community and how it was developed through this. Like I said, it's currently on Kickstarter. It does say that it will be available in 2016. So, like I said, I'm sure nothing short of just maybe a display of some sort will be available. But it is something, needless to say, a thing of interest that even if they have something on display or whatever it may be, to just sort of learn more about it, it'll just be an interesting element to it. And again, this is New Bedford by Great Eaton Games, the Dice Hate Me branch.
Yeah, that one, they had that one on Kickstarter once already, and they canceled the project, but I think that had more to do with bad timing than anything. I think the original project was in January, where a lot of people were still licking their wounds from the Christmas rush and having already spent that money. So I think they fell a little bit victim to that. But there was also like I don't want to call it a controversy, but there were some people who got upset about the theme, which is whaling, and I just found that interesting to get up to for those that got upset about it. Now, yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that, you know, going out and whaling is fine, but the game wasn't glorifying it in any way, I don't feel. I think it was approached as a historical thing. It's something that happened. It's interesting. You're not actually killing the whales, people, so, you know, relax. I don't know. I just think sometimes some of the reactions that a game that might have a touchy theme on it, which this one, at least for me, I mean, everyone's got their own opinion, go a little overboard. You know, at least for this one, I mean, I find it no different than someone who plays a war game. I mean, you're not actually out there committing the atrocities of war. You know, you're playing a tactical game to see if you can win it. You're not supporting what happened. You're just playing out the historical event. So I don't see it as much different. I guess it's just, I don't know. I get maybe we just desensitized to certain things in stuff that may belong in the same vein, isn't because it's different. I don't know. But I think this was an interesting one. Any game that has a cool historical theme, for me, this one is, I think, is worth checking out. And I'd be surprised if they didn't at least have some sort of demo copy or prototype copy there for people to check out for that one. So yeah, that'll be a good one to check out as well. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, I actually, you bringing that topic up, I actually was chatting with some people on Twitter regarding the subject matter of whaling, and I don't want to necessarily use the term defending, but I was, for lack of a better term, I was sort of defending the concept of the game New Bedford in sort of being a historical demonstration of the cause and effect of whaling, being that it did develop a community, but in that negative aspect, you had the sort of the diminishing element of whales. But it's in my opinion, I do not, much like you said, Paul, I do not believe at all that the game glorifies whaling. I think it's more a demonstration of a historical aspect, and one of the subject matters that I was discussing on Twitter was related to the awareness and how playing the game brings a sort of awareness of whaling and its effects. And there was another person that had made reference to a couple of other games that sort of stuck with that person. And my sort of take was that that, in a sense, is a good thing. If you're playing a game that leaves you with an impression, be it something controversial, it's a good thing because it made you aware. Not to go off on too much of a tangent, but for fellow video gamers out there, The Walking Dead was developed into a game by Telltale, and it was a very story-driven game that often made you make a lot of decisions and a lot of choices that really tested your morality as a person. I by no means found this game offensive, but it was one of the first video games that actually made me think about just who I am as a person and would I do some of the things that I may decide in this game. And it was just sort of an interesting take. And like I said, I didn't find it offensive or too close to home, so to speak. I just sort of looked at it as like, wow, this is a really great game because it made me aware. It made me think in that sort of fashion. And if a game like New Bedford can do that, to sort of make you aware of the cause and effect of whaling, then I see that more as a benefit and not something so negative, so to speak. But that's enough of that, because I don't want to go too much off on a tangent. But yeah, I'll leave the next one to you, Anthony.
All right, so I am contractually obligated to mention a Stronghold Games item.
Okay. Just one of those side deals we know about.
Does it help that I mentioned the Brahma?
Yeah, no, that helped. That's already out there though, so people have already played that one. But this one, people have not played yet, and no, it has nothing to do with the fact that Stephen makes me say these things or anything. But the Space Cadets Away missions will be debuting at GenCon. If you don't know what this is the Space Cadets game not designed by the Engelsteins, with the 100+ insane miniatures in the box. They had kickstarted this last year. The game is finally here and ready. The regular distribution will be happening right after GenCon. Stephen had a bunch of copies, I think 100. I think he said copies flown in for GenCon, but I had seen this back in the day when it was still a prototype and they had little standees for all of the characters. Another one, the one that was on Kickstarter, I wish I could have backed, but you know, a lot of money at the time, not available for things such as this. But the miniatures look amazing. The gameplay was a lot of fun when I got to try it then. Definitely looking forward to seeing the final product of that one. The other one is also the other game that's designed by the Engelsteins, which is the new version of Survive that takes place in space, where you're trying to escape a space station that is falling apart. Really looking forward to checking that. I love Survive. My family loves Survive. I like the idea of the space station, and it's not just a total repaste of the original one with a new theme on it. There are different mechanics that have been added in. So, Stephen, I hope you're listening and you're happy. 2 games on my list. And there's other stuff that Stephen has that isn't first time at Gen Con. So, like Dark Moon, another one of his I want to go and check out. I think he's got Code 777, the deluxe edition that's coming out. He's going to probably have 504 there for demos, maybe. That's going to be an Essen release. Lots of stuff going on in Stronghold, and I always like going over to the Stronghold booth just to talk to Steven and tease him a little bit about stuff. But definitely going to go check those 2 out.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else specific that I can name that I'm looking forward to seeing, although I'm sure there's a few titles I'm forgetting or booths.
I know someone who's going to be very upset with you
Someone's going to be upset with me.
for saying that.
Nothing. Oh, God. Who did I piss off now?
Well, you probably made them very happy because you mentioned them first.
Oh, you're talking about Portal?
Yes.
Yeah. What am I supposed to mention?
How about Rattle Battle Grab the Loot?
Well, I assumed one of you guys was going to bring that up.
But you said you had nothing else to talk about.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't
you
say I had
jerk.
nothing else to talk about. I said there was nothing else, no other specific titles. However, I was about to say something about Portal until you so rudely interrupted me.
But Rattle Battle Grab the Loot is a very specific title.
Yes.
Ignacy, teach me how to say jerk in Polish.
Well,
We'll just watch him call Paul that, and then we'll know.
I was concerning the Portal booth. I know we already mentioned that we'd be doing some demos at some point. I am actually really, really looking forward to doing that because I'll be doing it with two of my favorite games in the whole world, being Hiroshima Hex and Imperial Settlers. Imperial Settlers because I can't get the whole world to play 51st State, so we'll have to play the more basic version, which is just fine. But those are two of my most favorite games, and I enjoy teaching games as it is. Add in the fact that they're games that I can really get into and get excited about. I'm looking forward to introducing that stuff to people who haven't played them yet, and hopefully getting them excited about it, and just kind of spreading the word as far as that goes. But in addition to that, I'm actually looking forward to the unexpected, and what I mean by that is I'm hoping to have some time just to walk around the convention, and some booth will catch my eye, and I'm gonna go, what the hell is that, and why do I want it? And I hope I have one of those moments to I find something I totally didn't expect that ends up just being awesome. So I think I'm looking forward to running into something like that, because there's always bound to be some booth, some publisher that you've never heard of, or someone who's just there on their own publishing their own games that they printed in their basement or whatever. And there's bound to be a gem. It's just a matter of finding it. And I hope I'm able to do that. So we'll see. And not to mention all the people I will finally get to meet this time around. I know, Matt, you met up most of them last year. Anthony, you've been meeting them for years. This will be my first opportunity to, shake the hands of a lot of the fellow podcasters and reviewers that I listen to and watch all the time. So that's another thing and hopefully I'll be able to sit down and game with some of them after hours. So there's a lot of stuff to do. There's not going to be enough time to do it all. Not a chance. As of right now, at least, I plan on sleeping because I do not want to get sick. I'm on a nice little roll of staying healthy, and I'd like it to remain that way. But we'll see, because just the general excitement alone may keep me out. Fist bump may keep me out later than I intend. But that's more or less everything I'm looking forward to. If you guys have a few more titles, a few more things, go right ahead.
Yeah, I have just a few more titles. One of the ones that I have is from a designer who I enjoy many of his games, which is Eric Lang, and I'm sure you all can guess that I am talking about Blood Rage. Blood Rage is published by Cool Mini or Not and Guillotine Games. It's for 2 to 4 players, and it seems like a revised version, or at least a souped-up version of Midgard. Players, they're each controlling their own unique Viking clans with warriors and leaders and ships, and they are trying to go out in a blaze of glory for Ragnarok has arrived. Players, they have multiple paths to victory. They can invade and pillage lands for its rewards. They can engage in battles with their opponents. There are quests that they can fulfill. They can increase their clan stats, or just die gloriously in battle. One of the interesting things about this is it's similar to Midgard in the sense that players' strategies you conduct your strategy based on the cards that you draft, and you'll be given a series of cards that you'll draft through in what are known as ages, and these cards or God's gifts will grant you different benefits that may increase your Viking strength, or provide upgrades to your clan, or enable legendary creatures of the Norse mythology. But like I said, there are quests that you can try and complete and fulfill, rather, and there are bonuses where you're trying to obviously dominate provinces, and but there's also elements that actually have sort of a reverse effect, because you are playing for the gods, and various gods do different elements. But that reverse effect that I was referring to is you can actually gain the upper hand or victory through losing battles, or engaging in things where, say, Loki punishes the winner of battles and things like that. So you do have that sort of reverse element to consider, and you're basically going to just adapt your strategies based on what you draft, but also seeing and reacting to how the opponents play. I own, or I used to own, Midgard. I actually just recently traded it, but it was a game that I traded simply because it required a minimum of 3 players, and like I said earlier, it's just something that doesn't get played. I've owned the game, I think, for like 6 years, and it's only gotten played twice. So I'd rather it go to a home where it could get much more use. This sharing so many similarities to Midgard, and being able to play with 2 players was an absolute no-brainer, coupled with the fact that it was designed by Eric Lang. And this thing comes with minis galore, and it's one thing you can't fault Cool Mini or not for, is they make incredible minis. Their minis are usually really well detailed, and just really enjoyable and pleasing to the eye. And with this particular theme, it's just something really, really cool that they did with. This was actually kickstarted, again, to much great success. I know that they are having advanced copies air freighted over. If you were a backer, you cannot pick up yours. This is the stuff that they're air freighting is sort of essentially open to the public. But it is likely, or at least I hope, me being a backer, I hope at least that it's at retail price, and that there are no Kickstarter exclusives included in this limited batch that they are going to be selling to the public. But nonetheless, it's something I definitely want to check out. I definitely would love to see in action, and I just want to see for myself with my own eyes those minis, because they do look incredible. Again, this is Blood Rage by Cool Mini or Not and Guillotine Games.
Yeah, it's definitely just the base game, definitely full MSRP. This is the same with 2 of their other games that are going to be there, of which I've backed also. World of Smog is going to be there in limited supply. Blood Rage, and one other one which I can't remember. The one with the one I didn't back. The one with the 2 pirate ships battling each other.
Oh, is it Rum and Bones or something like that?
Yeah, also same thing. Will be there, limited supply, no exclusive, no expansions, just the base games. On a similar hill, the folks who, like me, who were backers of Shadows of Brimstone from Flying Frog Productions, they're going to have a bunch of the expansions that we're supposed to be getting in August. They air freighted a bunch in to sell there also. So I guess it's something that's going to happen, and you put up with it and move on. But yeah, anyway, exactly. So speaking of limited supply of stuff being brought in, Tasty Minstrel Games this year has a couple of small games that they're debuting at GenCon. One is Flip City, which I did get a copy of, which is actually a lot of fun. It's a game from Japan, and basically you have cards that are everyone gets the same hand of cards, and you're playing cards out to score a certain number of points. But the cards are all double-sided. That's the name Flip City, so you can flip them over to different sides to different things. So that'll be available there. Cthulhu Realms will be there also. Cthulhu Realms is Star Realms, which was a big, huge hit. It continues to be a big hit with a lot of people. Michael Mendez, who owns Tasty Minstrel, liked the game, but he wanted to tweak it, so he had reached out to Darwin Castle, who designed Star Realms, and asked and basically licensed the game from them, from White Wizard and him, and basically tweaked the rules a little bit. So it plays like Star Realms, head-to-head game. You can play with 2 decks and play 4 people, same like Star Realms. But it's Cthulhu, mythos-based, and instead of trying to get rid of health points, you're trying to get rid of the sanity points of your opposing player. I like Star Realms, and I like Cthulhu stuff. So it sounds like what has been added to the game is interesting. I'm definitely going to go check this one out. They have a game, Dungeon of Fortune, which is in the dungeon. What is the game? In the small box.
Dungeon Roll?
Dungeon Roll. In the same universe as that, even the same font they use, different designers on that one, so we'll have that one there. Eminent Domain Microcosm will be there. But the 2 that I'm most interested in going to check out, now they're going to have very, 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 very limited amount of these. Like literally maybe a couple of dozen copies, if we're lucky. One is called Gold West. This was designed by J. Alex Cavern, who actually is a friend of mine. And I actually have gotten to see this game in action when it was back in prototype stage. But it's an area control, area influence game set in the American West. You're playing prospectors trying to vie over different kinds of precious metals on the frontier. They're going to have like a handful of these. It's like a $60 MSRP. This is be coming out a little bit down the road. I mean, a little bit meaning like August, maybe September. There have a few copies of this there. The other one they're going to have is Steamworks, which is a tile placement, worker placement game, which also sounds really interesting. Again, very, very limited supply, so the artwork on both looks really cool. I don't know if the art was done, both of them by... I know the one for Steamworks, the work was done by Adam McIver, who's been doing a lot of stuff lately. Adam does some really cool work. But definitely both games I want to go check out. Alex is a fantastic designer. The other designer is also named Alex. I'm sure he's a fantastic designer too, but I don't know him. But definitely 2 games I want to go and check out, as well as the other small box ones.
Yeah, Cthulhu Realms is definitely one that I'm very interested in from Tasty Minstrel. Adam McIver actually was one of the artists on this. Rob Lundy was the other one. I actually really, really love the artwork in Cthulhu Realms. It has a sort of campy, cartoony feel to it, and it's very crisp art, beautiful art. What I really enjoy about Cthulhu Realms is it's deck pool. It's sort of deck building, pool building, but I love the element of player elimination. Each player's basically working to try to reduce their opponent's insanity. I'm sorry, they're trying to reduce their opponents to insanity, and while retaining your own insanity. No, while retaining your own sanity. It is late, as you can tell, and I'm not getting in my words coherently. So each player will start the game with a small deck comprised of, say, like initiates or followers, goons, things like that. And there'll be cards available on the table so that players can acquire. And you'll start with 5 cards in hands, and you can either choose to put locations into play, boost your own sanity, or reduce the sanity of others. You'll collect like powers to acquire new cards. You can remove cards from the game, and you can use the power of your locations at least once each turn. So almost to the same effect of, say, like a construct in Ascension. And at the end of your turn, you're going to discard any cards in hand and so forth. So it plays like a deck builder, but you're trying to maintain your sanity while reducing the sanity of others, and it that sort of elimination effect of sort of trying to outlast your opponent is very interesting. And not saying that this is exactly like Eaten by Zombies, but that's a game that sort of comes to mind where it's a deck building game that you're trying to outlast your opponent, but in a very different concept. So this one's definitely one that's of interest to me, simply because of like I said, those premises. And again, it's Cthulhu Realms from Tasty Minstrel Games, and I probably should do maybe one or two more, because apparently I can't talk right anymore.
All right, before you go there, Paul, any more games from you? You want to check out?
No, that was the extent of my list.
Okay, Sharp Nietzsche. That's how you say jerk in Polish, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
I looked it up.
Fantastic.
All right, Matt, rapid fire, quick.
Yes, so the other ones that I wanted to talk about that I have interest on, this is one that was kickstarted, again, to much success. It was one that I backed. I know that I believe, and I could be wrong here, but I believe this will likely not be available in time for Gen Con. I think they'll just probably have maybe some advanced copies simply for demoing and display, and the game I am referring to is Mistfall from NSKN Games. It is for 1 to 4 players. It is a cooperative game where players basically will choose a hero with a fixed deck of equipment and power cards, and they will go on a particular journey riddled with monsters and a quest to complete. The heroes, they'll have advanced abilities, and they'll start off with a basic deck, and they'll then get to expand upon those cards, further enabling their hero to basically, essentially, just gain experience and level up. But also there are variable board setups and randomized encounters with regard to the types of enemies you'll encounter. So it essentially feels like one of those RPGs or RPG video games, but in a board game sort of sense, through card play. Like I said, it does involve deck and pool building, and there are variable player powers, cooperative play, and it fits the fantasy realm. The art is actually really fantastic, and like I said, I kickstarted this. This is one of those that I know it's not going to be likely available, but I just want to see it in action. The other ones that I also wanted to quickly mention was Ashes. I believe it's called Ashes: Rise of the Phoenix-Born, which is designed by Plaid Hat Games. Spectre Ops is an obvious one. We had talked about Spec Ops because we had been able to play it at TotalCon, but that's one of those games that's definitely worth looking into. But Ashes: Rise of the Phoenix-Born, it's a game that uses a lot of interesting elements. Players, they will get to choose from a series of Phoenix-born that have their own unique powers and abilities, and you get to choose your first hand. Players are allowed to start the game with 5 cards of their choice to essentially establish a solid footing to sort of give them direction and how they want to work their deck. But also the dice that's involved in the game is used essentially as a resource, and you have that sort of back and forth element of gameplay, and much like sort of Summoner Wars, I can see there being a lot of card customization and deck customization. It's 2 to 4 players, but something tells me this is a game that's probably going to be really solid as a 2-player game. The art is absolutely amazing on this. It's right up there for me personally. It's right up there with the art of, say, like Warhammer Invasion, the LCG. It's just simply fantastic art. Love it. Beautiful stuff. Again, it's Ashes: Rise of the Phoenix Born by Plaid Games. And that's pretty much going to do it for me for games of interest at Gen Con. Much like you, Paul, I'm sure I'm going to stumble upon some that flew under the radar, but upon seeing it and possibly demoing it, find that it's a cool and interesting game. I look forward to meeting the people that I met last year, and I look forward to trying to enjoy Gen Con as a customer or an attendee, if you will. I know that I'm going to be doing some work with Portal and likely some work with the Cardboard Jungle, but it is nowhere near as intense as it was last year, the amount of work that I was doing. And while the experience was fun, I feel like I didn't necessarily enjoy it as much. So I'm hoping that will be different this year, being that I will have more access to just to demo games and see things and not be so much a workhorse, if you will. So those are definitely the things I'm interested for Gen Con, and just hope that it bests last year.
All right, so like I said, there's not a ton of stuff out there. I think the booths you should go check out if you're not have anything planned on what you're looking to buy. The Asmodee booth, definitely a place to go. They have lots of games coming from both from Asmodee themselves and from their partners. So Ludonot and Bombix, and the Takenoko expansion is going to be there. Always cool stuff going on at the Asmodee booth. Definitely go there. The other one is go to the Passport Studios booth. The folks from NSKN will be there in the booth because Passport does their stuff here. If you've been looking to get the games from Argent, was it Argent Valet? What is that company that makes El Gaucho?
Oh, yeah. Argentum Verlag.
Yeah, that one. The Passport is their distributor here in the U.S. So El Gaucho, Union might be there.
Ooh, Union I would definitely love to pick up.
Also, Ludo Creations has a deal with Passport, so they'll be in the booth. So if you're looking to get a copy of Redacted or Pocket Imperium, go get that over there. Last year, the surprise game for me and for a bunch of people from the convention was Kingsport Festival. That was from Passport booth, so head over there. They will have Bruno Faiduti over there, and Antoine Bowser will be over there signing at different times. But they're really cool people. Go check out the stuff they have there. And, of course, come to the Portal booth. We will be there every morning for the first hour. We'll probably be popping in and out of the booth during the day. So come by, come say hi, come meet Ignacy, come meet his wife Mary, who's a very lovely woman, really funny also. Chevy Dodd will be in the booth. Jeff Patino will be there in the booth. They're sharing the booth, like I said earlier, with Czech Games Edition, so I believe Lotto will be in the booth at the same time. The other people to go check out, the folks at Add Magic, who are also one of our new sponsors, and I'm not saying this because they're a sponsor. Add Magic is they're kind of sort of like Game Salute, where they publish games for different design studios in there. But what's really cool is they have the people there who have the design studios there in their booth usually. So their booth is like one big long booth, but each part of the booth is a separate little table. where the people who actually created those games are there showing off their games, and there's always something really cool that you've probably never heard of that's there. So definitely go and check them out. But make sure you go say hi to other people. Z-Man always has cool stuff in their booth. AEG runs a ton of demos, and they're friends of the show. I am not a Firefly fan, but I am getting a copy of Shiny Dice that's coming out from Upper Deck. It was designed by Scott Morris. You may know him as Tox from Crits Happen. He's also vice president over at Arcane Wonders. But that's going to be there. The one thing is, we talked about the fact that there aren't a lot of games coming out. There's still a lot of games coming out, but not the numbers that usually come out. But that's not a bad thing, because it'll give us actually more time to discover things that we did not know about. There's a ton of things on that list, on the preview list, that sound really interesting, that are there for demo only. And if we get a chance to try some of them, they'll be really cool. You talked about NSCAN games before. If you have ever wanted to play Twilight Imperium 3 and you're like, I can't play a game that lasts 12 hours, go over to the booth, get yourself a copy of Exodus Proxima Centauri, which came out, and the brand new expansion, which was just released. I have a copy right here. It's absolutely amazing. So much fun. So other than that, other things going on at Gen Con that looking forward to. Seeing people that we only get to see once a year. A lot of us like to joke around that Gen Con is like summer camp. If you ever went to like summer camp, you had friends there who you only saw at summer camp because they were from a different town or whatever. So this is what it's like. There's people who I only get to see once a year, unless some weird circumstance happens to be able to see each other. So it's like the whole cool. We count down the number of days to going. It's going to be great going with Matt and Paul for the first time. All three of us being there at the same time. But the fact that we don't have those games that we have to run to get, well, there's a couple of them, but not a lot. It'll give us time to actually say, hey, someone will say, hey, we have this new game, that's coming to Kickstarter. Do you want to try it out? We can say, yeah, and sit down and actually, enjoy it. Other than, things like that, after the dealer hall closes on Thursday night, we'll be at the Ignacci's Look Through the Portal seminar thing, and then also that night we are actually doing the play-by-play color commentary for a Neuroshima Hex grudge match between Rodney Smith from Watch It Played and Marty Cannell, Rolling Dice and Taking Names. They're taking on Joel Eddy from Drive Thru Review and Matt Evans from Board Game Replay. So we'll be doing the commentary. That should be a lot of fun.
That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
On Friday night, I am taking part in a it's called Battle of the Board Game Networks, and basically it's 3 teams. I'm the captain of one of the teams. Joel will be there again. Marty will be there again. Lance Mikester, Undead Viking, will be there. Tox will be there. Matt Evans will be there. Ryan LaFlame, or LaFlamme, I believe you pronounce it, from Cardboard Republic will be there. Hunter Shelbourne, and Keith Collins. And we're playing in teams of 3. We're going to be playing a variety of different games for the audience's entertainment. It's Battle of the Board Game Networks, which is sort of an homage to the old Battle of the Network Stars that used to be on TV every year, where the stars from all the different TV shows used to compete against each other in like an Olympics type thing. So we're doing something like that. We will be playing Giant Rhino Hero. We mentioned it earlier. Rhiannon Knox, who is organizing the whole thing and the MC for the evening, has secured a couple copies of the Giant Rhino Hero for us to play. So I know you can laugh at us as we knock stuff over, but we have some other games that we're going to be doing with audience participation. Tons of things are being given away. Tickets are still available, so if you're watching this and you're coming to Gen Con and you're not doing anything on Friday night, go and get a ticket for that. It's Battle of the Board Game Networks. a lot of fun. Other than that, we're going to be hanging out, playing games, talking to people, having some adult beverages, just having a great time. If you're coming out and you see us, say hello. All right, we'll be wearing these CBJP shirts, all three of us. Now you know what we look like too, because you can see all of our faces. But by all means,
I'll wait. We have a hat.
if we're in the middle of demoing a game to other people, please don't interrupt us. But like I said, any other time you see us, just stop and say, "Hey, how's it going? I'm so and so. Listen to the show. You guys suck." Whatever. We don't charge for autographs. Well, we charge a little bit. I think it's what, $25 each.
Yeah, we pay people to take them from us.
Oh. but yeah, it was funny because I've had some publishers, say, "Oh, can we set up an appointment to talk?" I said, if you'd like to talk to us as we're walking by your booth, say, "Hi, guys," and we'll come talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we've missed a lot of things, and we will be doing a regular in-studio wrap-up show when we get back. I don't know what we'll be able to do as far as recording there. I did get myself a digital recorder, so I will probably be recording some interviews with some designers and publishers and stuff. We are bringing video cameras, but like I said, we are going to do coverage of the show, but we are not going to work, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sure.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, explain it then, Paul. Yeah.
No, I don't know what you mean, so.
Yeah, no, sure.
I'm not sure what I should be explaining here.
I ask a simple question, and you get, yeah, sure. It's like my kids. You ask me.
Going with it. I'm just gonna go with what comes at me. So.
All right. So basically, I'll explain it since you can't explain it. So basically, if we take video of something, we will share the video. We take pictures, we will share it. We are not going to sit there and try to set up shots and do all of this crazy stuff. It's we're going on our own dime this year, and we're going to make sure that we actually have fun. But we are going to let you know what's going on at the show. So make sure you're following us on Twitter. We'll be tweeting a lot. Like I said, if you're coming, come find us. If you're not going, you can follow us and everything. Also, you may want to check out, if you're not coming, GenCon, which is run by Suzanne Shidlin. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. So Suzanne does the segment on Board Game Breakfast about the board game apps, and she started GenCon last year, and it's grown humongously this year. It's getting to the point where people are going to say, I don't even want to go to GenCon because GenCon is so cool. But she has a ton of people who are on board and helping her out with things. A lot of prize support's been given from different publishers. They have some cool events and stuff in place right now. They were running a contest to design the official GenCon badge. It's just because you don't actually leave your house doesn't mean you shouldn't have a badge. And that's always fun. Even at GenCon, I like to look at what's going on in the GenCon posts. But they have a website. I think it's gencon.org. And go check it out. They have a lot of stuff planned, and it's a lot of fun. So if you can't be there, you can be at a convention with everyone else who's not there.
Right.
So, all right. So, one last chance to throw something out there about GenCon.
I'm good to go.
Literally, he's good to go. His bags are packed. They're right off the side of the screen there.
Oh, yes.
On the side.
You have no idea.
Matt?
Yes.
Anything from you before we go?
No, just excited for it and can't wait to go.
I am thoroughly excited. I'm excited for you guys coming the night before and hanging out here for a little while and playing something. The car ride should be fun.
Oh God, I know.
But
Well, like I was saying to Matt
hell.
before, the ride there will not be nearly as bad as the ride home, because at least there's the anticipation of what's coming, as opposed to why have they not invented the transporter yet. So.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty. The ride home is always interesting. And
That's
Matt,
brutal.
I will not be glaring at you.
Oh God, I don't want to know.
So anyway, like I said, if you see us, say hello. If we see you and we know who you are, we'll say hello. But we're looking forward to Gen Con next week, and we'll talk to you all soon. So until next time, I'm Anthony Ricano.
I'm Paul Leoncavallo.
And I'm Matthew Suarez.
And you've been watching The Cardboard Jungle.
Ooh.
Later.
All right.
See
Get
you,
lost.
everybody.
No, really.
No, really, get lost.
Go away.
Bye.